most of the time is going to be able to be an outlet for possible solutions on the mental plane. In other words, her ability to come up with answers. Where they're going to get into difficulty in that electromagnetic is when he wants to come up with the answers and she tries to be inspiring. In other words, he's not going to like it when she's asking him questions. Not. You know, the moment that her with her 4 is asking the question, she's playing the 63. You know, it's like, you stay on your side, I'll stay on my side, everything is going to be okay. In looking at any connection, all we're looking for, remember, I told you at the beginning, what I'm trying to get you to is a place where you can see where it does not work. This is not a place where it won't work. This will work. The harmony will allow it to work. Oh yes, it will be love-hate, it'll go through that dynamic, but all of that'll be very mental. You know, it's, you know, I hate your questions. You know, I despise that kind of an answer. You know, this kind of stuff will work out at the mental level, but because it's a harmony and it's an electromagnetic harmony, you know that it's going to be effective. It's going to keep the dynamic working. It says something else. If you're dealing with them as a couple, you're saying to them, look, the real spark for the two of you is at the mental level. You are here, you know, to stimulate each other mentally, and how important it's going to be to counsel them about sharing their mental life. Of course, that leads into her compromise in the only way that the mind can get to the throat, so that can be complicated in that sense. The next thing that we're going to look at is that we're going to look at compromise. Now you'll notice I'm not going to look at dominance, because, you know, the profile in the dominance has something to do with the individual, but doesn't have anything to do in that sense with the relationship, because that's not a place where people meet. That's simply something that you're taking in from somebody else. Where it's going to matter is going to matter in those 3 areas where you're taking something else in: the electromagnetic, the compromise, and the companionship. There is no, pardon me, there I go again. There is a companionship in this chart. They both have the 40-26. Let's see how this works. If we come over to Rainier's chart, and we're dealing with the 44, he's got the 44-4, and you can see that that is a resonance to his 4-6 personality profile. In other words, that's something that is very important for him in living out his purpose, is to be able to control egos, to be able to transmit, in order to be able to take his public place. And at the other end of that, you have the 26 gate, and you have the 26 gate in the 6th line. Now, of course, that's a resonance, direct resonance to his unconscious. In other words, this is a very important aspect of his life, and the fact that he's got the 4-6 there resonates to what he is.